Good afternoon, America. Yep, a little different look. A lot more bald today than I was yesterday. Every now and then I actually do shave it. And I'm doing this because now I do not have to quick grab my reading glasses or say, okay, what's this? I can actually read and see. Yep, old dude, bifocals. Yep, this kind of classic old dude design. Y'all don't have to deal with it. I do. I want to talk about some things. We're there. Tomorrow's it. Early voting is over. All of that has been put into the ballot box and will usually be counted last. Candy Pager Gidry. Hello. See, I can actually see that now. I have to do this, but I can see it now. Anyway, it's good to see you, girl. I want to talk today about the fact that tomorrow's it. We're going to make up our minds who we are as a country. I am optimistic. I'm very optimistic. I've looked at more recent polls and trends. I've looked at what's going on out there and seen changes that I would have never expected. One of the things that came out yesterday, in a place where 1 point ahead would have blown my mind. In Iowa, one of the reddest states around, Kamala Harris is up by 3 points. And a lot of people, Helen Armstrong, see, I told y'all I can read it now. Good to see you. And Spirit, I know who she is and I know her real name. Y'all can't hear it. But Kamala is up by 3 points in red-ass Iowa. That's a tide change. Evelyn McLeod is here. A little bit of Canada showing up. I like that. Hey, yeah, you did. You got it on the live. You got it right now on the live because only the people that are here on the live now will be seeing it from the live, except for a couple of little places. Generally, I am only going to be reposting it from YouTube. So YouTube people, what I will say is if you have not done it, or folks that see this on Facebook and you click on the YouTube link, I'm begging you, click the like, click the subscribe button. That makes a difference to me personally. That can become income, and if you think that it doesn't cost me something to do this, well, it does. Far beyond just the personal. So that will help me out. Please do that. But we are seeing another groundswell right at the tail end, and boy, if you're going to have one, that's where to have it. What we're seeing from the other side is a meltdown. We're seeing a dumpster fire. We're seeing a guy that can barely put two sentences together now. We're seeing his sycophants doing crazy things. We just had Marjorie Taylor Greene come out and talk about how concerned she is that these illegal aliens are eating squirrels. You're worried about squirrels? Really? In this election, what's on the line? You're worried about squirrels? I'll tell you one thing, squirrel gets in my backyard, it ain't got a chance. Yeah, I think they're cute too, but really when it gets down to it, it's a rat with good hair, people. But she's worried about squirrels. And if you go down the list of the sycophants, they're worried about these same stupid things. Nothing to do with policy, nothing to do with where we'll be, and completely ignoring where we'll be. And folks, this is my last negative one. I promise you that. It won't be my last one. I will be doing another one tomorrow. But this is my last negative one. Because Cheryl Demerit Guerrero. Good. I do not know that name, but I'm glad that you're here. Anyway, this will be the last negative one. I'm going to do one more tomorrow, and we're going to talk about things that's a lot easier to talk about. Real policy. Real reasons why we should. Because that's my last chance to get to anybody out there that is thinking about sitting on their ass tomorrow and not getting out and casting their vote for Kamala Harris. Carrie Lindley, good to see you, brother. But today we're going to talk about some other things. We're going to talk about the reality. We're going to talk about what's at stake here. And I'm not going to go through this. These are just things that I wrote down earlier in the day and things that I know will happen if we lose. We can't lose this one, people. There is entirely too much on the line. Entirely too much on the line. Let's start with, by the way, there's a very pretty girl in the room, and later on I'm probably going to kiss on her and give her a hug and all of that. Hello, wife. Anyway, one of the things that we've already heard from all the way back to 2015, if you don't understand that freedom of the press is on the line, you're not paying attention. From day one, he's used two words, and it has become almost like breathing to the Trump sycophants and to MAGA and the deplorables. Fake news. He has as much as said that there are outlets who should lose their license. There are outlets, if they were to have a news broadcast license, should lose it. They're not the ones he's talking about. But he started this with the fake news. And nothing is going to tone down that aggression. He's just going to keep doing that. He's just going to keep attacking it. And if he can put in laws, if he can get his sycophants to put in laws that make it illegal to go against the administration, he'll do it. Think about that for a moment. Is that what you want for free press? Let's move on to the next thing. We have been working for a long time. And this is from a gun aficionado. I have any number of them within reach. I don't have a problem with guns themselves when they are handled properly and in the hands of people who know how to use them with the respect and safety that is required, and are people that aren't crazy. We've been looking for sensible gun legislation for 50 years. Haven't seen much. The first thing that he's going to do is to close the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. That was created in 23 by, wait a minute, who put that together? Oh, yeah, there was this woman named Kamala Harris that did a lot of that. What he's going to do is do away with that, and then you can bet, and this is one of the things to worry about, who he's going to put in charge of different things. You can bet that he's going to put in a gun industry friendly, and folks, remember, a lot of the arguments we hear are not really about the Second Amendment. They're not really about anything other than what the gun manufacturers want you to hear. You know that he's going to put somebody in there in charge of the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau that's going to roll back as many of the regulations as they can A second Trump term would mean having to fight like hell to get any kind of progress on just basic gun safety measures. We don't have them now. We sure as shit ain't going to get them under him. Another one. And to me, one of the biggest issues of this whole election cycle and where our country is going to be. You need to remember that there are places now, since the overturning of Roe versus Wade, that, oh, your uncle raped you and you're 12, and you are poor and destitute, and the baby you're carrying probably isn't going to have all of its internal organs. Sorry. You might die. Sorry, you got to carry that one. That is literally what there are in a number of states, including the most severe one is probably in Idaho. And what is going to happen if Trump wins, he's probably going to work for federal restrictions. Now, he says he's not. Do you remember the last time he told you the truth? I sure as shit don't. And that has been what's been going on with this whole right-wing playbook forever. That's what they're going to do. Yes, it's going to be that bad. No, this is not hyperbole. That is what they'll do. Take a look at Project 2025 as well. If you don't think that that's going to be implemented if he gets back in, you're foolish. He's going to do it. He can, other things that he can do. He can weaken the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, and that's a federal law that protects abortion access to a degree, no matter what. The Idaho law completely ignores that, and they've said that they will ignore that. He'll do away with that too, people. We've got another thing that a lot of people haven't thought about, and that is his idea of the use of the military. At present, we cannot use the military against American citizens. He likes the idea of deploying the National Guard anytime he wants to. If he doesn't like a protest that's out there, send out the guns. We risk cities, whole cities, because there's a lot of them that he says are nothing but a shithole and they should be taken over. He's got a lot of ways that he says he's going to do that, including undocumented immigrants, although most of them are documented and legally here, it's not the number that he lies about. His words, in cities where there's been a complete breakdown of law and order, I will not hesitate to send in federal assets, including the National Guard, until safety is restored. Now, I don't like the idea of riots in the streets. I don't like the idea of violence being used to make a political point. And I do believe that there are times when that has to happen. But I sure as shit don't want to see things like Kent State. And if you folks don't remember what that is, well, you're not old enough. And by the way, it can happen, and it will happen under him. This is in keeping with his other promise. Mass deportations. Mass deportations. Now, he hasn't said how he can do that, but it's basically been round them up. What's he going to use? He's going to use the military to do that. But he doesn't understand, and a lot of people don't understand, the ramifications of what that will do to our country. If you don't know that our country, our society to a great deal, certainly our economy relies heavily on migrant labor, again, you're not paying attention. This guy wants to round them up and deport them en masse. He wants to do that using the military and militarizing police departments. Alarm just went off for something. Now, he hasn't offered details, but he has said that maybe as many as 20 million people. If you take a look at it, all of those plans match Project 2025. He's going there. He is going there. I don't know how you can miss that one. The other thing he's real fond of is taking away people's rights. One of the things that we have seen an increase in the last 10, 15 years is the rights that are now protected for the LGBTQ plus community. And I understand this fully because I have a gay bonus son and his wonderful husband. I have a transsexual daughter. Their protections will be stripped away. Again, this follows right along with Project 2025. Project 2025 actually calls for rolling back some of the stuff that we have seen instituted as protections under the Biden-Harris administration and taking them out and replacing them with policies that support heterosexual intact marriage. Marriage equality is an important underpinning of our society. They strip it away, people. If you want that for your future, go ahead, vote for that son of a bitch, because that's what you're going to get. One of the things that we are feeling every single day, and it's been worse year after year after year, is climate change. He has already stated very clearly that he took us out of the Paris Climate Accord, and he's going to do worse than that. We're trying to make a difference. We're trying to slow this global warming down. We're trying to slow down the damage we're doing to the planet. And one of the ones that they want to do, his administration in particular, he wants to bolster oil production, drill baby drill, gas and coal production, and there are about 5 others. I can't remember all of them right now. All of these things that he wants to make, let's make it better for the oil companies. Let's make it better for the coal companies. And let's totally forget about environmental protections. Let's go ahead and pollute every goddamn thing you want to pollute as long as we can make money. That is his administration. That's what he'll do. Don't forget that. Other things, you got to remember how much he hates popular legislation that other presidents have done. By the way, he had very little legislation that came through that was of any import at all. But he despises the successes of the Biden-Harris administration. He would do away with the Inflation Reduction Act. He'll have it repealed. And what that was called by Shady Vance, his sycophant, asshole orange shit stain Jr., said directly that the $370 billion bill, which did include some movement for increasing green energy, Shady calls it a green energy scam. It's not. It saved this fucking country. He'll take it away in a heartbeat because that was a Biden-Harris win. You want to think about that a little further? Look how hard he tried to repeal the ACA. He missed it by one. Thank you, John McCain. Real Republicans. He's not one. He'll do away with it. Let's talk about the environment just a little more, because this is an absolute promise from him, is that he will open up public lands to oil and gas production. We have national parks and wildlife refuges for a reason. Been around since Teddy Roosevelt. We are a better nation for them. He just opened that up and drill, baby, drill. You want to vote for that? Do you want him to do that to your planet? Do you want him to do that to this beautiful country that John Brideau just came across and saw some of it right here with me? Is that what you want? Go ahead, vote for the son of a bitch, because that's what you'll get. Another thing that you'll get, and this is one that hits home personally. In 2020, we saw quite a summer of unrest. And there were a lot of it because of George Floyd's death. And we saw a lot of protests. We saw a lot of things happen. We also saw that little shit Kyle Rittenhouse, because of all of that, kill a couple of fucking people. Full-blown Trumper, full-blown MAGA, still blowing that horn and crying every time things don't go his way. The Orange Shit Stain is campaigning on a platform that absolutely includes suppressing protests and has vowed to bring in the National Guard where law and order has been broken down. Does that include when you steal documents? Does that include when you sexually assault people? Does that include when you lie on your taxes? Does that include when you... not that law and order. When them brown people start doing stuff that he doesn't like. That law and order. He's promised that that's what he'll do. We just had protests from students protesting Israel's invasion of Gaza. MAGA Mike Johnson called for the National Guard to be brought in for that. If you're somebody that has a voice and you're going to stand up and use your voice, there's a very good chance you're going to get a knock on the door. Part of the reason for my doing this today. If he wins, I'm probably going to get a knock on the door. Personally, that's not America. He could never represent America. But he wants to pass legislation that would impose nationwide penalties like those that we have right here in Tennessee that pretty much strip those rights away. You go ahead and try to organize a protest here in Tennessee. Go ahead and try. That was what we would have all over the country. One of the worst things that we'd see, we have made tremendous gains in the last 4 years on the world stage. Yes, the world is a place full of unrest right now. It has been before, it will be again, but we have had a steady hand at the tiller. You put that son of a bitch in power again, his whole nationalist agenda, Christian nationalist agenda, what's the other name for that? Oh yeah, Nazi. You put him in there again, and all it's going to do is create more instability around the world. You want a good example? He doesn't like China. He got it real bad for, even though he sucks Xi Jinping's dick, he doesn't like China because they make a lot of money off of us. Well, we're going to impose all of these sanctions against them. We're going to put these tariffs in place that you're going to pay for. That's not going to help anywhere, and it's going to destabilize even more. But if he were there, he's going to be very pro-Taiwan. Do you have any idea what that's going to do to the balance in the world? If he were there, he's going to be 100% pro-Israel. To hell with the Muslims. You want any proof of that? Muslim ban. He's going to do what he can to end any kind of help for Ukraine. Make them make a deal. Do you have any idea how that's going to empower Vladimir Putin? But somehow, he's going to make our place on the world stage better. I don't see that, especially when he's somebody who does nothing but badmouth and want to tear apart NATO. If you don't know what the North Atlantic Treaty was all about, it was there to make sure that we don't have fucking assholes like him. That's probably why he doesn't like it. But he will try to do away with that and harm it as much as he can. If you don't think that's going to destabilize, you're stupid. These are all the reasons in the world why you should never, ever, ever think about putting that son of a bitch back in there. We've got one more day for people to make up their minds. Those are all the reasons in the world why you shouldn't make up your mind that way. There's more, but those are big ones that will affect us every single day, every single way. Listen to this, go back and listen to it again, and look this up and see if that isn't exactly what he has stated he will do. Reason enough for me. All right. We had a nice Blue Dot family meeting last night with Daddy John. It was good to talk to him. I'm glad that things are a little more where they're supposed to be there. Your prayers are still important that way. Your energy is still important that way. We have the biggest decision as a country we have ever had to make. And the real decision making starts tomorrow. A bunch of it has already gone in, but the big day is tomorrow. Let's make sure, if you haven't voted, that you do. If you sit at home, man, you're going to piss me off. If you ride this one out and say, oh, she's got some pretty good poll numbers. Yeah, well, Hillary Clinton had double-digit poll numbers, and we lost to that orange shit stain. Nobody in the bunker. Everybody on the line. If you haven't voted yet, you get your ass out there any way you can tomorrow. You bring somebody with you. If you heard of somebody that hasn't voted yet, can I give you a ride? I will love to do that for you. I will hold your hand until we get in there. We won't fight with anybody. Did you see the guy in the MAGA hat at the polls when he was told that he can't be wearing his Trump paraphernalia? Yeah, he started a fight with the poll workers. That's what we have ahead of us, people. No, that's not my America. That's not your America. I love you, America. I love you, Blue Dots. Do the right thing. Share this shit.